Beloved child, listen to me in peace, for I do not awaken you to make your heart panic, but to draw you out of the sleep of familiarity. There are times when I allow you to remain in the shade of waiting, not because I have forgotten you, nor because the promise has lost its life, but because your roots must grow deeper before the trunk can be lifted higher. People often see only the day the flower blooms, but I see even the months when the seed silently cracks open beneath the soil. You have passed through seasons that seemed prolonged in silence, days when you wondered why the door had not yet opened, why the prayer had not yet taken form, why your soul had to be refined in the hidden place. But my child, no tear has ever been taken lightly by me. No waiting place is useless in my hands, and no delay has the authority to define your destiny. As it is written, "Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for him." Psalm 37:7. That stillness is not surrendering in defeat, but a kind of holy strength, where you learn not to let your heart run ahead of my timing. Now, I want you to understand that there is a difference between patience and delay, between waiting in faith and hiding in fear. Before, I taught you to stand firm, to endure, so that the hidden places within you could be healed. But when the season comes in which I call, obedience can no longer clothe itself in hesitation. When my cloud moves, my people must lift camp. When the trumpet sounds, the watchman cannot pretend he has not heard. I do not want you to walk in the haste of the flesh, but neither do I want you to bury your calling beneath layers of reasons that appear wise. Remember Abraham, when I spoke to him and told him to leave his country, his homeland, and his father's house, and go to the place I would show him. He was not given the entire map, but he received the call, and that very call became the light beneath his feet. As it is written, by faith Abraham obeyed and went out, not knowing where he was going. Hebrews 11:8. Do you see? True faith does not always need to know every detail. True faith recognizes my voice and follows. Therefore, do not call the years that have passed a loss when I call them preparation. Do not see the places where you were held back as prisons, when in my hands they became the refining chamber of the soul. It was there that I taught you to discern the true voice among countless noises, taught you not to hand your destiny over to temporary emotions, taught you not to chase every shining door that lacks my presence. There were things you once wanted to seize immediately, but if I had given them to you while your heart was not yet steady enough, that blessing could have become a burden. I did not allow you to be destroyed by what you were not yet ready to carry. I covered you when you thought you were being hidden. I kept you from detours you once believed were opportunities. As it is written, the steps of a righteous man are ordered by the Lord, Psalm 37:23, which means that even when you do not understand the path, I am still keeping the rhythm of every step you take. But beloved child, my hour does not come so that you may remain forever at the threshold, re-examining old fears. When I open a new season, I do not merely change the scenery around you, I also change the person who is stepping into that scenery. I do not patch your life with a few small repairs, nor do I merely wipe dust from the surface so that you appear more acceptable. I touch the foundation. I shake the inner structures you once relied on but which no longer fit what I am about to do. I remove the thoughts that narrowed your vision, the condemnations that made you bow your head for too long, the old definitions that bound you to a small room while I had already prepared a vast open sky for you. As it is written, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. 2 Corinthians 5:17. You are not called to live as a decorated version of the past. You are called to walk as one who has been renewed from within. Let me remind you of a story that many people often pass over. Yet within it, lies a profound secret. When Joshua led the people of Israel near the Jordan, the river did not part before the priest's feet touched the water. I had commanded them to carry the Ark of the Covenant and step forward. And only when they set their feet at the edge of the water did the river stop, opening a way for the people to cross on dry ground. As it is written, when those who carried the ark came to the Jordan, and the feet of the priests touched the water's edge, the waters from upstream stood still. Joshua 3:15-16. Do you understand this? There are miracles that are not displayed beforehand to reassure you before you obey. There are miracles that are activated in the very moment you set your foot into what I have spoken. Your obedience does not create my power, but it places you in the right position to witness that power at work. Therefore, I do not want you to keep negotiating with the past. The things that once hindered you no longer have the right to sit on the throne of your mind. Self-doubt is not the voice of wisdom. Weariness is not the prophet of the future. Old failure is not the final verdict over your life. I am tearing away the veils that caused you to see everything through the gray color of pain. I am washing your eyes so you may see what I see, softening your heart so you may respond, not with defensiveness, but with trust. When the veil in the temple was torn from top to bottom, it was not merely the sign of an event on earth, but a declaration that the way into the presence had been opened. As it is written, the veil of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. Matthew 27:51. What once separated no longer holds the same power. What once kept you standing far away is no longer permitted to determine the distance between you and me. Remember, I am the one who makes all things new. But my renewal is not merely the changing of circumstances so that you may feel more comfortable. I renew the way you see, the way you hear, the way you choose, the way you rise again after moments of weakness. I renew even the breathing rhythm of your soul, so that you no longer live in the tension of one who is always afraid of losing something, but in the peace of one who knows they are being kept. Outwardly, there may still be unfinished matters, answers that have not yet fully appeared, doors toward which you still need to step, but within you, I am establishing a new order, and when the order within is placed under my hand, the life outside will gradually come into alignment with what I have spoken. As I have declared, behold, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. That new thing does not always come with a loud sound. Many times it begins with a quiet conviction in your heart that you no longer belong to the old pattern. So, beloved child, rise with gentleness, yet with firmness. Do not let awakening turn into anxiety, and do not let peace become passivity. I am calling you into discerning obedience, where you listen carefully to my voice, and yet do not step back once you have recognized what I am saying. You do not need to force yourself to become strong in the way the world understands strength. You only need to remain near enough to me for my strength to lift you at the right time. When you walk, walk as one who is being guided. When you speak, speak as one who has been cleansed from fear. When you wait, wait as one who knows the promise is still alive. And when I command you to move forward as one who knows that the one who calls you is also the one who goes before you. For I do not merely open a door for you to see, I open a way for you to pass through. I do not merely call your name from afar, I take hold of you in mercy, teach you with patience, and bring you into the season that my own hand prepared long before you understood who you were. Beloved child, I want you to become still in this moment, not with the tension of one who fears missing out, but with the alertness of one who knows that my voice is resounding in the deepest place of the soul. Many people stand very close to the door and still do not pass through, not because the door is not open, nor because I have changed my mind, but because their hearts have become so accustomed to the darkness of delay that when the light comes, it confuses them. They have waited too long in disappointment, protected themselves too much with doubt, and learned to live with the old for so long that when the new touches their lives, they mistake it for something foreign. But my child, I have not placed you in this season so that you may continue sleeping in the midst of the call. I awaken you not to rebuke you with heaviness, but to draw you out of the fog of the years that made your heart slow to respond. As it is written, awake, you who sleep. Arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Ephesians 5:14. That light does not come to shame you for having once been weak. That light comes to show you that the hour to rise has arrived. Do not let the times you were once disappointed become a new law over your future. What did not happen yesterday does not mean I am not acting today. What you once prayed for but have not yet seen does not mean that prayer has fallen into forgetfulness. You can see only a small part of the picture. But I see the season of sowing, the hidden season, the season of sprouting, and the season of harvest. Therefore, faith is not you denying reality, nor is it you walking blindly like someone who does not know whom they are following. Faith is when you place your heart in the one who sees the road before you see the footprints. As it is written, for we walk by faith, not by sight. 2 Corinthians 5:7. I am not telling you to ignore the trials, but I am teaching you not to let the trials sit on the throne and judge my promise. Your eyes may not yet see everything, but your soul can recognize my voice. And that voice is enough to keep you from returning to the old room of fear. There is a kind of steadfastness I am teaching you, but that steadfastness is not the hardness of a wounded heart. I am not calling you to become a cold wall, no longer able to feel, no longer able to be tender, no longer able to trust. I am calling you to become a tree planted beside the streams of water, with deep roots, a firm trunk, and green leaves, so that even when the wind changes direction, you are not uprooted from your place. When I tell you to stand firm, it means to keep your heart upright before me, not running away because of fear, not rushing ahead because of impatience, not lying down because of weariness, and not allowing old voices to pull you out of obedience. As it is written, stand therefore, having girded your waist with truth. Ephesians 6:14. Truth does not suffocate you. Truth keeps you from being swept away by temporary emotions. Truth reminds you that I am still the faithful one, even when you are walking through a stretch of the road that the natural eye does not yet fully understand. Remember the story of the 5 wise virgins and the 5 foolish virgins in the words I taught. All of them had heard about the bridegroom. All of them carried lamps. All of them were near the appointed time. But not all of them were ready when the call sounded at midnight. The wise ones did not merely possess the outward appearance of waiting. They had oil in their vessels, a hidden preparation that others could not see. When the cry rang out, behold, the bridegroom is coming. Go out to meet him. Matthew 25:6. That moment was no longer the time to borrow another person's watchfulness. Do you see? There are seasons when I give you time to prepare, but there are also hours when, as the door opens, true preparation is revealed. I did not tell that story to make you afraid, but to help you understand that watchfulness cannot merely be an emotion in one morning. It must become the quiet rhythm of your life. A lamp tended every day in nearness to me. Therefore, the urgency I place within your heart is not like the noise of the world. The world drives you with pressure, with comparison, with the fear of falling behind, with the feeling that you must run faster in order to prove that you are worthy. But I urge you with a peace that carries fire, with a call that is both gentle and impossible to take lightly. Divine urgency does not make you confused. It makes you alert. It does not pull you away from me. It draws you nearer to me. It does not tell you to do everything all at once. It simply reminds you that the time has come to no longer compromise with hesitation. As it is written, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. Ephesians 5:16. Redeeming the time does not mean living hurriedly in fear, but recognizing the value of the moment I have given, so that you do not waste a holy season in the old cycles of doubt and delay. Beloved child, what is familiar is not always safe. There are cages painted with the color of stability. There are limitations disguised as wisdom. And there are delays that are no longer waiting in me, but have become shelters for fear. I do not condemn you for having once been tired, hesitant, or in need of time to be healed. I know every wound that made you cautious, every delayed promise that made you afraid to hope too much, every closed door that made you wonder whether you had misheard my voice. But today I do not come to rehearse your pain. I come to separate your pain from your destiny. What wounded you does not have the right to lead you forever. What made you afraid does not have the right to decide how you answer me. For I have spoken, I will lead the blind by a way they do not know. Along unfamiliar paths I will guide them. Isaiah 42:16. You do not need to be familiar with the road before you step onto it. You only need to know that the one who leads you is faithful. Now, my child, do not keep wavering between the old land and the new call. Do not stand with one foot in memory and one foot in the promise. Then wonder why your heart has no peace. When I call you out of the old, I do not deny what you learned there, but I will not allow you to pitch your tent in a place that was only meant to be a stopping point. There are lessons that have completed their role. There are people, mindsets, defensive habits, and ways of defining yourself that have reached their limit. If you keep holding on to them because you fear emptiness, your hands will not be free to receive what I am placing before you. Remember the word I spoke to Lot and his family when they were drawn out of the city that was about to be destroyed. Do not look behind you. Genesis 19:17. Not because the past has no meaning, but because there are moments when looking back with attachment can turn the soul to stone in the middle of deliverance. I am calling you into obedience without hesitation, but that obedience will always be wrapped in my love. I do not push you into a place where my presence is absent. I do not open a door and then leave you to figure out how to survive on the other side. When I command you to walk, grace is already present on that road. When I tell you to stand firm, my sustaining strength is already beneath your feet. When I awaken you, it is because the time is ripened, and your heart must recognize what heaven is doing before your eyes can see every manifestation on earth. As it is written, the Lord himself goes before you and will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:8. So do not tremble like someone abandoned at a crossroads. Breathe deeply. Lift up your head. Place your heart back into my hands, and follow the call that is burning within you with a strong and peaceful confidence. And from today onward, learn to recognize my voice, not only in great signs, but also in the very gentle, holy prompting within your heart. When I remind you to pray, pray. When I remind you to prepare, prepare. When I remind you to release what has become old, release it with faith, knowing that your hands will not remain empty for long. For I do not take anything from you without a redemptive purpose. When I remind you to move forward, do not allow old fear to convene a courtroom in your mind in order to judge my word. Remember that today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts. Hebrews 3:15. Beloved child, this is not a season of panic, but neither is it a season of sleep. This is the season of opened eyes, a softened heart, ready feet, and a soul that knows how to say, Father, I hear your voice, and I will walk. Beloved child, There is a question that has caused many souls to stand too long before the threshold of the promise. Am I worthy? But today I want you to hear clearly. I do not place before you the scale of perfection so that you may examine yourself until you are exhausted. I do not call you forward so that you may prove you are strong enough, capable enough, flawless enough, or knowledgeable enough in every matter. I call you forward so that you may respond. For what pleases me is not a person who is confident in their own strength, but a heart that knows how to soften before my voice, how to bow in reverent fear, and how to rise in obedience when I say, go. As it is written, this is the one I will look on, the one who is humble and contrite in spirit, and who trembles at my word. Isaiah 66:2. Do you see? I am not looking for pride decorated with ability. I am looking for surrender, sanctified by love. A true heart, even when it still trembles, is more precious than an appearance of strength that remains closed to my will. Therefore, do not let the obsession with worthiness keep you in the old room of self-doubt. There are times when you look at the door before you and see yourself as too small, too inexperienced, too full of cracks, too filled with memories that have not yet healed. But my child, I have never needed you to create your own power in order to enter what I have prepared. If everything depended on your own strength, you would quickly grow weary. But when you know how to place yourself in my hands, even what is small becomes an instrument of heaven. As I have spoken, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. Weakness does not make me draw back from you. On the contrary, when you stop pretending that you are enough, I have room to reveal that my grace is sufficient. Emptiness offered into my hands is no longer lack. It becomes a vessel waiting to be filled. Remember Gideon, who once threshed wheat in a hidden place because he feared the enemy. When my angel appeared to him, I did not call him by the name he had given himself, nor did I call him according to the trembling appearance he carried in that moment. I spoke to him as one who already carried the seed of destiny. The Lord is with you. Mighty warrior, Judges 6:12. Do you see the wonder in this? Gideon saw himself through weakness, through oppressed circumstances, through his small place in his father's house. But I saw him through what I would do within him. I did not wait for him to feel like a strong man before I called him. I called first. And then, through the journey of obedience, strength was awakened. In the same way, I do not need you to be confident according to the way the world demands before you begin to walk. I only need you to trust my voice more than the voice of fear, and to trust my presence more than your own feeling of not being enough. Therefore, do not despise the moments when you feel powerless before something great. Many times, the very awareness that you cannot do it by yourself becomes the open door to holy dependence. The one who considers himself sufficient often has no room left to receive more. The one who knows he needs me is upheld by me, step by step. Paul heard my word in the place of weakness. My grace is sufficient for you. For my strength is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Let that word wash shame from your heart. Weakness does not mean you are disqualified. Smallness does not mean you are forgotten. Not seeing everything yet does not mean you are not being guided. When you know that you need me, you are standing nearer to the source of strength than ever before. But beloved child, there is one thing I want you to discern carefully. What hinders you most deeply is not always weakness, but the familiarity you keep as a refuge. There are chains that are not made of iron, but of habit. There are narrow rooms that people still cling to simply because they have lived there for too long. There are old mindsets that no longer nourish you, but because they are familiar, you mistake them for safety. I do not lead you out of the old in order to leave you stranded in emptiness. I lead you out because I have prepared a wider place, As David sang, "He brought me out into a spacious place. He rescued me because he delighted in me." Psalm 18:19. That spacious place is not merely a better circumstance. It is a new condition of the soul, where you no longer live by defensive reactions, but by the freedom of one who is being led by me. And understand that my summons in this season is not a burden laid upon your shoulders. It is an honor, an invitation, a trumpet of grace, calling you out of the ashes and into life. I do not call you forward with a heart trembling in insecurity, but with a soul illuminated by the truth that the one who promised is also faithful to complete it. As it is written, the one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. 1 Thessalonians 5:24. You did not begin this by yourself, and you do not have to complete it by yourself. I was present before you recognized the call. I was quietly rebuilding what seemed to have collapsed. I was breathing life into the dreams you once buried beneath the dust of disappointment. What you thought had fallen asleep has not died in my hands. There are seeds that are only waiting for the right season to rise from the ground. So from today onward, do not continue calling yourself by the name of failure. Do not place upon your forehead the label of the doors that once closed. Do not let the past retain the authority to name your future. I am the one who called Abraham, before he saw descendants as numerous as the stars. I am the one who called Simon Peter, even though moments of weakness still lay before him. I am the one who sees within a trembling person, someone who will rise after being restored. When I change a name, I change the way you walk. When I speak over you, my word is not a sound that falls to the ground and disappears. As it is written, my word will not return to me empty, but will accomplish what I desire. Isaiah 55:11. You do not need to keep living as though the old words of people have greater authority than my word. What I speak is the true foundation. Perhaps today you still see broken pieces within yourself, but I do not look at them as evidence of final ruin. In my hands, broken pieces can become testimony. Ashes can become a crown of beauty. Tears can become streams that water the harvest. As it is written, to give them a crown of beauty instead of ashes, the oil of joy instead of mourning, and a garment of praise instead of a spirit of heaviness. Isaiah 61:3. I do not waste your pain. I do not abandon the former years like a meaningless heap of ruins. I gather, cleanse, arrange, and use the very place that once made you think you had lost everything to reveal that my power can create something new from what seemed to have no shape left. Therefore, beloved child, look at this season with different eyes. Do not see it as pressure to become someone beyond your strength. See it as a call to return to the very place I appointed for you from the beginning. You are not stepping into tomorrow as one who is merely trying to endure. You are stepping into it as one who has been entrusted. You do not live only to survive each wave. You were raised up to carry out what I have placed in your hands with humility, discernment, and peace. If today you allow my word to touch the depths of your heart, tomorrow you will no longer walk with the old rhythm. Within you, there will be a new alignment, a new breath, a courage that does not come from the self, but from my presence. Now, my child, the hour of renewal has not come, so that you may stand outside and watch like a stranger. I am opening something new for you to enter, to live in, to breathe in, to act within, and to become part of that testimony. Do not wait until you no longer tremble before you obey. Obey while still holding my hand. Do not wait until you see everything before you believe. Trust the one who has seen everything on your behalf. Do not wait until you feel worthy. Respond, because I am the one who has called you. As it is written, behold, I am about to do a new thing. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? Isaiah 43:19. Beloved child, open your heart. What I am doing is not only before you, if you surrender. It will begin to live within you. Therefore, do not look at this season through the wounded eyes of yesterday. Do not use the doors that once closed to explain the door I am now opening. Do not let the long seasons of waiting convince you that I have forgotten the way to you. I am the one who holds the seasons in my hand, the one who sets boundaries for the sea, the one who calls the dawn to rise at the appointed hour, and also the one who knows the moment when your soul must be moved into a new orbit. When I touch the clock of your life, time is no longer the thing that wears you down. It becomes a servant of my will. As it is written, to everything there is a season, and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. You once thought the delays were working against you, but many things I allowed to slow down so that your heart would not enter something great on a weak foundation. Now that I speak that the season of transition has come, you do not need to carry doubt like old luggage. Walk lighter, for my hand is setting the rhythm of your life again. I want you to understand deeply that the change I am doing is not merely a shift in the atmosphere around you, but the reestablishing of order within you. I am not simply pulling you into a new chapter while you remain in the old state of exhaustion. I am lifting you into another dimension of awareness, where you are no longer ruled by what was lost, no longer paralyzed by what has not yet appeared, no longer held seated by the past in the small room of self-doubt. As it is written, I will make a way in the wilderness and rivers in the desert. Isaiah 43:19. Do you see? I do not only cause flowers to bloom where there is already a garden, I can open streams in the very land that was once dry, where you thought nothing could grow anymore. I had quietly buried a seed, where you thought there was only ash. I can still build an altar, where you once saw only an ending. I saw a beginning being formed in the hidden place. For this reason, you do not need to use your own strength to force open a door I have appointed to open. There are souls who become exhausted because they think every bolt must be broken by their own effort. Every opportunity must be seized through tension. Every promise must be pulled down through unending struggle. But I have not called you into a life crushed by striving. I have called you into timely response. Obedience is not passivity, but neither is it panic. It is walking in my rhythm, listening when I speak, stopping when I hold you back, moving forward when I open the way, and not allowing your heart to run ahead of my presence. As it is written, the one who believes will not act hastily. Isaiah 28:16. Faith does not make you slow because of fear. Faith keeps you from rushing because of insecurity. When I go before you, you do not need to surge ahead to prove that you are courageous. You only need to follow, and you will see the rough places made level beneath your feet. So do not fear the enlargement I am bringing. The spacious place is not where you are abandoned in emptiness. It is where I free you from the walls that have restricted your breath for too long. I do not lead you out of the familiar to make you lose your way, but to show you that my presence is not confined to the things you have already known. I am the one who led Abraham out of his homeland, who led Moses through the sea, who led my people by the pillar of cloud by day and the pillar of fire by night. I have never called anyone out of the old without intending to reveal myself along the way. As it is written, the Lord himself will go before you, he will be with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. Deuteronomy 31:8. You may not yet know every turn, but you know the one who goes before you, and that is enough to keep your heart from breaking before the new. So today, allow me to remove from your shoulders the garment of the old season. Stop explaining yourself through the times you were weary, the days you lost your way, and the promises that have not yet taken shape before your eyes. I am not dragging you into the future. I am lifting you by authority. I am not driving you with condemnation. I am calling you with love. I am not demanding that you open the bronze doors by yourself. I speak, and the bars of iron must break before my will. Your part is to believe, to respond, to keep your heart tender, and not to return to worshiping fear simply because it once felt familiar. As it is written, "For I know the plans I have for you, plans for peace and not for harm, to give you a future and a hope." Jeremiah 29:11. That future is not built upon your old failures, but upon my everlasting faithfulness. Now, beloved child, lift up your head in humility. This season has not come to overwhelm you, but to reveal that I have prepared you more than you realize. What was once buried like a seed will begin to break open. The dry places will hear the sound of water. The places that seemed silent and still will bear the footprints of life. When I open, do not stand far away in suspicion. When I call, do not delay under the name of caution. When I lead, do not demand to see the entire map before you are willing to step. Remember that I do not merely show you the way, I am the one who creates the way. And when you place your heart into my hands, you will not merely hear about a new season from a distance, but you will enter it, live in it, and become a testimony that what I have determined to open, no darkness can shut. Beloved child, let this word enter your heart like a gentle yet mighty stream. I am not calling you to step into the future with anxiety, nor do I want you to push yourself forward with the fear of being left behind. There are those who hear my call and turn it into a burden, as though every door must be opened by their shoulders. Every road must be broken through by their strength. Every promise must be pulled down by their tension. But my child, that is not how I lead you. I do not place an assignment upon you in order to exhaust you. I place a call within you to draw you closer to me. When you are near me, you will know when to stand still, when to step forward, when to release, when to expand, and when to let me do what your hands cannot do. As it is written, be still, and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. That stillness is not immobility, but a holy place where your soul stops fighting for control and begins to recognize the rhythm of my movement. Do not try to blow the door open by your own strength, for there are doors that open only by my authority. Your part is not to shatter every lock in panic, but to keep your heart close enough to me to recognize when my hand rests upon the door. The impatient person thinks that the harder he strains, the faster he will arrive. But the obedient person understands that my appointed time has the power to open a way that 100 years of human striving could never create. As it is written, what I open, no one can shut, and what I shut, no one can open. Revelation 3:7. When I open, no force can withstand it when I have not yet opened. Forcing your way through only exhausts your soul. Therefore, learn the sensitivity of a child who knows the Father, not careless, not hesitant, but also not running ahead. You walk according to the presence, and the presence itself will lead you into the place of the open door. There are movements of mind that begin within before they appear outwardly. You will feel the rhythm of your soul changing before your circumstances change their color. The things that once felt heavy will begin to move. The matters that once dragged like wheels stuck in mud will gradually be lifted out of stagnation. The dreams that once lay still beneath the dust of disappointment will begin to breathe again. Do not despise those small signs, for in my kingdom, even the smallest mustard seed can carry within it the shade of a great tree. As it is written, the kingdom of heaven is like a mustard seed, though it is the smallest of all seeds. When it grows, it becomes greater than the garden plants. Matthew 13:31-32. You may not yet see the fullness of enlargement with your eyes, but if something within you is being awakened, if your heart is hearing a wider call, if my peace is urging you to step out of the old cycle, then know that the season of movement has begun. I am enlarging the scope you once thought was the final limit of your life. What you call a small place is not always failure. Many times, it is where I trained you in faithfulness, in hiddenness, and in things few people saw. But the place used for training is not always the place appointed for you to remain forever. When a vessel has been fired in the flame, it no longer belongs to the kiln. It is brought out to contain and pour what is precious. In the same way, I have taught you within familiar circles, but I do not want you to use the size of the past to measure the width of the future. As it is written, enlarge the place of your tent. Stretch out the curtains of your dwelling. Do not hold back. Isaiah 54:2. That word is not only an ancient saying, but my voice speaking to your soul today. Do not shrink back as though you were still living beneath the old tent, when I have already prepared a wider land for you. Remember the story of Jabez, a man whose name was tied to pain. People called him by the memory of a difficult birth, as though the pain of his origin had the right to define his entire life. But Jabez did not bow down and worship that name. He cried out to the God of Israel, saying, "Oh, that you would bless me indeed and enlarge my territory. Let your hand be with me." 1 Chronicles 4:10. And I answered him, "Do you see, true enlargement does not begin with ambition that seeks to be exalted, but with a soul that knows that if my hand is not present, even a wider territory is only empty ground." Jabez did not ask for enlargement in order to boast in himself, but to be delivered from a painful definition and to step into the portion I could give. In the same way, I am drawing you out of old names, old limits, and old stories, so that you no longer live as one whose boundaries are set by pain. But beloved child, discern with purity. I enlarge you not so that your ego may be given a monument, but so that my purpose may reach farther. Influence in the hands of an unsurrendered heart can become pride, but influence in the hands of a tender heart will become a river of blessing. I do not stretch the circumference of your life wider so that you may stand higher than others, but so that my light may touch places that have not yet been touched. As it is written, a city set on a hill cannot be hidden. Matthew 5:14. Light is not placed high so it can admire itself. Light is placed high so it can show the way for others. Therefore, when I enlarge you, keep your heart low before me. The more you are entrusted with, the closer you must remain to me. The farther you reach, the deeper your roots must grow. The more you step into a new sphere, the more you must remember that every good thing comes from my hand. So do not rebuild the walls that I am tearing down. Do not shrink your prayers simply because you were once disappointed. Do not limit your voice simply because someone did not understand you before. Do not bury your gift simply because there was a season when you had to live in hiddenness. Hiddenness has taught you, but it has no right to imprison you. Caution has protected you, but it must not be allowed to become fear. Humility keeps you pure, but it does not mean denying what I have placed within you. As it is written, no one lights a lamp and puts it under a basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Matthew 5:15. If I have kindled you, do not lock yourself beneath the basket of insecurity. If I have opened the way, do not bind yourself with old reasons. If I am calling you out, do not pretend that remaining hidden is still obedience. Remember that yesterday's fear has no authority to measure the width of tomorrow's field. It only knows how to retell what wounded you. It does not know how to read my intention. It only knows how to point at the doors that closed. It does not see the doors I am opening. It only knows how to remind you of old limitations. It does not understand new grace. Therefore, do not hand the measuring rod of your future to a fear that was born from the past. Entrust your future to me, the one who says, I will instruct you and teach you in the way you should go. I will counsel you with my eye upon you. Psalm 32:8. You do not need to draw the entire map by yourself. You need to remain close to the one who holds the map. And when my eye is upon you, you can step into the spacious place without losing your peace. Therefore, beloved child, enlarge your heart before you see your circumstances. Enlarge. Allow me to stretch your inner capacity through faith, through forgiveness, through courage, and through the willingness to learn new rhythms. Prepare like one who knows the rain will come, even if the sky today remains still. Dig ditches in the valley as my people once did, before they saw the water flow. For you shall not see wind, nor shall you see rain, yet that valley shall be filled with water. 2 Kings 3:17. There are provisions of mine that come after you have prepared a place to receive them. There are streams that are seen only by those who believe enough to dig beforehand. Do not wait for everything to prove itself before you expand. Expand because I have spoken. Now, my child, I am changing the rhythm within you to prepare you for what will follow outwardly. I am drawing you out of the place of merely enduring and bringing you into the place of carrying out what I have entrusted to you. I am enlarging your reach. Not so you will be swept into self-exaltation, but so your life may become a clean channel through which my grace can flow. Stay near me, and you will know when the door opens. Keep your heart tender, and you will not turn enlargement into pride. Keep your roots deep, and you will not fall when your branches stretch far. Do not shrink yourself anymore according to the size of the past. Do not make old wounds the boundaries of a new promise. Tomorrow's field is not measured by yesterday's fear, but by my faithfulness. And I say to you, expand. For the place where I am leading you is wider than you have dared to imagine, brighter than you have dared to pray for, and holier than you ever thought you could enter. Beloved child, do not be afraid when you begin to realize that the garment of your old way of living no longer fits your soul. There are things that once helped you stand firm, but now have become too narrow. There are habits that once served as a refuge, but now no longer have enough room to hold the new breath I am placing within you. There are paths that were once familiar to you, but suddenly seem small before the deeper movement I am stirring up. Do not hastily call this disorder. Do not quickly assume that everything is falling apart. Many times, what you feel is shaking is actually the sign that the river of your life is being redirected under my hand. When I lead water through a new riverbed, the old banks will tremble, the old ground will crack, and familiar shapes will no longer remain intact, but that cracking is not meant to destroy you, but to make room for a wider flow. As it is written, the river of God is full of water, Psalm 65:9. And wherever my waters pass through, that place is no longer condemned to remain dry forever. Understand this with a peaceful heart. Not every instability is a sign that you have lost your way. There are disruptions born from rebellion, but there are also holy tremblings that come from me, lifting you out of a place that has become too narrow. You have lived for so long within small patterns that when I stretch your capacity, you think you are losing control. But my child, losing control is not always a disaster. Sometimes it is the moment when you hand control back to me. As it is written, commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will bring it to pass. Psalm 37:5. Commitment does not mean you no longer walk. Commitment means you walk without needing to clutch every detail in your trembling hands. When I redirect the current, you do not need to hold on to the old riverbank to prove that you are safe. You need to trust that the one who calls the waters to flow also knows how to lead the waters to the sea. I know you may fear acceleration, because you have once confused acceleration with pressure. You have seen the world drive people to run through comparison, through the fear of being left behind, through the noise of achievement and the need to prove themselves. But the wind I send is not like the whirlwind of the world. The wind of my spirit does not force you to run until you are exhausted. That wind lifts you into the right speed for the new season. It does not throw you into confusion. It awakens you. It does not tear your soul into many pieces. It gathers you into a clearer direction. As Christ said, "The wind blows where it wishes, so it is with everyone who is born of the Spirit." John 3:8. You do not need to explain every dimension of the wind's movement before you obey. There are things of my spirit that are understood more deeply only as you follow. If that wind comes from me, it will not throw you into chaos. It will bring you into the right course, the right current, and the right shore that I have prepared. Remember Philip in the book of Acts. He was in the midst of a fruitful ministry in Samaria, where many people were being touched and joy was spreading throughout the city. Yet my angel spoke to him and told him to rise and go south, along the desert road that goes down from Jerusalem to Gaza. To human eyes, that could have seemed like leaving a fruitful place in order to step into a confusing emptiness. But Philip went, and on that road he met the Ethiopian official, a man who was reading the prophecy of Isaiah but did not yet understand it. The Holy Spirit said, "Go near and overtake this chariot." Acts 8:29. Do you see? My redirections do not always agree with ordinary reasoning, but they always carry an appointed encounter. Philip did not need to know the entire plan before he stepped forward. He only needed to be sensitive enough to leave the familiar place and keep pace with the movement of my spirit. And from that obedience, the gospel touched one soul, and through that soul, opened a reach of influence far beyond what his eyes could see at that moment. In the same way, beloved child, there are paths I call you to walk that will first appear like a lonely road. You may not see crowds confirming it. You may not hear applause. You may not hold a complete map in your hand. But if I am leading, that emptiness is not a sign that you have gone the wrong way. It may be the hidden corridor that brings you to the encounter, the role, or the door I have appointed. Do not measure the rightness of a movement only by how familiar it feels. There are things that are very right, yet very new to you. There are things that are very holy, yet at first they make your soul tremble because you have never lived in that dimension before. As it is written, your ears shall hear a word behind you, saying, "This is the way, walk in it." Isaiah 30:21. My voice does not always come with a crowd. Many times it comes as a deep inner instruction, clear enough for the one willing to listen, and strong enough to uphold the one willing to obey. Therefore, do not tremble before the new role, as though I were placing a heavy stone upon your shoulders. What I entrust to an obedient soul is not a crushing burden, but the true shape of the seed I placed within you from the beginning. There were years when you only sensed that you were called, but did not yet fully understand what you were called for. There were quiet longings that arose within you like a distant bell, holy promptings that made it impossible for you to keep living within the old small pattern. Moments when your heart turned toward something wider that even you could not yet name. Today I want you to understand, those things were not meaningless restlessness. They were the echo of the position I had prepared. As I have spoken, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. Before you were born, I set you apart. Jeremiah 1:5. This new place may be new in your eyes, but it is not unfamiliar to mine. Do not think that you are being forced to become a stranger to yourself. No, you are being drawn closer to the true person I saw before you even knew how to name yourself. There are layers of fear that have covered your identity. There are words spoken by others that made you shrink. There are old failures that caused you to confuse humility with denying what I placed within you. But when I call you into a new role, I am not borrowing someone else's garment to place upon you. I am fitting you once again into the garment of destiny that I, myself, wove for you. As it is written, we are his workmanship, created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand for us to walk in. Ephesians 2:10. Those good works were prepared beforehand. What you are learning now is to step into them with a healed heart and a soul that knows how to obey. Remember that maturity often carries the sound of leaving. When you grow, there are old places that can no longer contain you. When the river becomes deeper, the shallow bank can no longer define its course. When the vessel is enlarged, the former measure of oil is no longer the final limit. Do not grieve when certain things no longer fit you as they once did. Do not panic when old patterns no longer bring you the peace they used to bring. I am not taking away your refuge in order to leave you empty. I am teaching you to take refuge in me, not in familiarity. As it is written, God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Psalm 46:1. When I become your true refuge, you can leave the places that once sheltered you temporarily without falling apart. Now, my child, the acceleration that is coming is not meant to make you lose your peace, but to bring you into step with a new season. I can cause what once took many years to be arranged within a short span when the time has fully ripened. I can connect the scattered points of your life into a clear path. I can use experiences that seemed unrelated to create precise preparation for the role you are about to enter. As it is written, the plowman shall overtake the reaper, and the treader of grapes, the one who sows seed. Amos 9:13. This is not a word of panic, but an image of a season of abundance, when heaven's rhythm surpasses the old rhythm of weariness. When I accelerate, you do not need to fear being crushed. You need to remain in me so that you may be lifted into the speed of grace. Therefore, do not measure the new role by the unfamiliar feeling it carries. At first, do not call the redirection of the current a disaster simply because the old bank is shaking. Do not reject the wind simply because you do not yet understand all of its path. Let me open your ears, soften your heart, and train your feet to walk on new terrain. You are not entering this as someone thrown into strangeness, but as one being led into the portion already prepared beforehand in my heart. Go with humility, but do not shrink. Tremble before my word, but do not tremble before the future. Remain tender in my hands, but do not allow fear to bend your obedience. Beloved child, this new thing is new only to your eyes. It is not new to me. Before you ever asked who you were, I knew you. Before you felt the call as something vague within your heart, I had already placed that seed in your soul. Before you saw the old bank crack open, I had already determined where the river must flow. So trust me in the redirection. Trust me in the acceleration. Trust me in the new role. And trust me even in the moments that still feel unfamiliar. The wind of my spirit does not come to shatter you, but to bring you into the right course. The role I entrust to you does not come to crush you, but to reveal the true person I named from the beginning. And as you follow me, you will look back and understand that today's shaking was not the sign of collapse, but the sound of old ground opening so that a new river of life could flow through. For in my kingdom, readiness is more precious than display, and surrender opens a deeper way than any confidence built by the flesh. People often look at outward appearance, at posture, voice, achievements, persuasive ability, and endurance. But I look into the deeper place, the place no one sees, the place that determines whether you walk for me or for the need to prove yourself. As it is written, man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16:7. There are people who look very strong, yet their hearts no longer know how to bow. There are people who look small, yet within them is a pure yes that heaven can use. I do not need you to enter the new portion wearing a flawless garment, without wrinkle, without any mark of the journey. I need you to enter with a heart that knows its source is not in itself, but in me, the one who calls, the one who keeps, and the one who completes. Remember Mary, an ordinary young woman in the eyes of the world, yet entrusted with a calling beyond anything human ability could understand. When the angel came and announced that she would conceive and give birth to a son who would be called the Son of the Most High, Mary had no map for the days ahead, no explanation sufficient to make everyone understand, and no strength of her own to protect herself from every misunderstanding. Yet she said, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word." Luke 1:38. Do you see? Her readiness did not come from having every detail firmly in her hands. It came from a surrendered heart that believed, if the word came from me, then grace would also accompany that word. And in that very tenderness, the impossible became the place where I revealed my power. In the same way, when I tell you to rise, I do not speak as one standing far away, watching to see whether you can support yourself. When I call you up, my strength has already begun to move beneath your feet. When I tell you to be ready, I am not merely issuing a command from the outside, I am adjusting the rhythm within, renewing your thoughts, purifying your motives, and removing the layers of fear that made you see the new role as threatening territory instead of an entrusted field. As it is written, "Those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings like eagles." Isaiah 40:31. That renewed strength does not always come before you respond in the way you expect. Many times, it is given as you obey. The eagle does not fight the wind as an enemy. It learns to lift its wings upon the current. So it is with you. Do not resist grace with anxiety. Learn to lean upon what I am breathing into this season. Beloved child, listen to me from the deepest place within your heart. I have not trained you to become an unfeeling stone, nor have I led you through seasons of testing so that the tenderness within you would be extinguished. There are people who think maturity means no longer feeling anything, that strength means no longer knowing pain, that walking with me means hiding every wound beneath a hard face. But that is not what I am doing in you. I am not making you dry so that you may appear enduring. I am making you deeper so that you can carry more. I am not taking away your softness. I am sanctifying it, guarding it, making it clearer and steadier. As it is written, the wisdom that comes from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, willing to yield. James 3:17. Do you see? What belongs to heaven is not always loud and hard. Many times it is quiet and tender. Yet it carries within it a strength that cannot be shaken. Therefore, do not be ashamed that your heart still knows how to tremble. Do not think that the tears you once shed are proof that you are not yet mature enough. There are tears that have washed the dust of bitterness from your eyes. There were moments when you were broken not to be destroyed, but so that the false layers could be removed, and I could touch the truest place within you. I am not looking for a vessel painted beautifully on the outside while cracked and dry within because of wounds. I desire a vessel that is healed, enlarged, and cleansed, so that when the new wine is poured in, it will not split apart because of cracks that have not yet been surrendered to me. As Christ said, new wine must be put into new wineskins. Luke 5:38. New wine does not only require a new season outwardly, it requires a new capacity inwardly. And because I love you, I am preparing that capacity within you before I place something greater into your hands. There were days when you thought I was silent, but in truth, I was working at a depth beyond what you could name. You asked for a door, but I saw a room within you that still needed to be opened. You asked for enlargement, but I saw a fear that was still making your heart smaller. You asked for influence, but I saw a wound that could turn influence into pressure if it had not yet been healed. Therefore, there are seasons when I do not hasten to give what you ask. Not because I am withholding or because I delight in seeing you wait, but because I know that a great blessing placed upon a soul that has not yet been strengthened can become a burden. As it is written, He has made everything beautiful in its time, Ecclesiastes 3:11. It is not only the door that needs the right timing, your heart also needs the right depth, the right tenderness, and the right steadiness to walk through without losing peace. I want you to remember Joseph, who carried great dreams within him from his youth. I showed him images of a role that reached far beyond the tents of his family. But I did not take him straight from the coat of many colors to the throne of authority in Egypt. Between the promise and its fulfillment, there was a pit, a house of slavery, a prison, and years of being forgotten. But look carefully, my child, in those places. I did not crush Joseph, I refined his heart. I taught him to govern while he was still in Potiphar's house, taught him discernment while he was in prison, taught him to keep himself from bitterness when he was betrayed, and taught him that a gift is not for revenge, but for preserving the lives of many. When he finally stood before his brothers, he did not use power to crush those who had wounded him, but said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50:20. Do you see? A great role requires a heart that has been enlarged enough to no longer be ruled by the past. In the same way, I am not only concerned with what you will receive, I am concerned with the person you become when you receive it. I do not want blessing to make you proud, nor enlargement to rob you of peace. I do not want the new role to draw you away from me, nor what I place in your hands to become the place where you seek your worth instead of seeking me. Therefore, I am doing a delicate, holy, and merciful work deep within you. I am removing from you the bitterness you once called protection. I am healing the closeness you once mistook for wisdom. I am straightening the places that became bent through long waiting, so that you will not look at tomorrow through eyes stained by yesterday's disappointment. As it is written, guard your heart above all else, for out of it flow the springs of life. Proverbs 4:23. Your heart is the place I tend, because from it will flow everything you carry, everything you speak, everything you decide, and everything you give. Beloved child, when I touch the weak places within you, I do not touch them as an accuser. I do not come near your wounds to make you ashamed that you have suffered. I do not look upon your cracked places and call them useless. I am the one who can use the very places that were broken for light to pass through. As it is written, a bruised reed he will not break, and a smoldering wick he will not quench. Isaiah 42:3. That is how I deal with you. If you are only like a bruised reed, I do not break you. If within you there remains only a faint smoke of hope, I do not extinguish it. I bend low, shield the flame from the wind, breathe life upon it, and lift what is weak with the patience of a father. You may have become accustomed to harsh hands, but my hand is not like that. My hand is both holy and gentle. It carries the power to restore and the tenderness not to wound your soul further. Therefore, do not fear the process I am carrying out within you simply because it goes deeper than you expected. There are healings that cannot take place on the surface. There are outward doors that have not yet opened because I am still opening the inner rooms you locked away after many seasons of pain. There are prayers that have not been answered in the way you desired because I am answering a deeper prayer, the prayer your soul whispered when it asked to be free, to be lighter in heart, to live again, to be loved without shrinking back, and to walk forward without fearing that it would fall apart. I do not merely want you to have what you prayed for, I want you to be whole enough to enjoy it. I do not merely want you to step into the spacious place, I want you to enter it with a heart no longer chained to old rooms. Let me renew your tenderness. Do not mistake it for weakness. A tender heart in my hands can endure what a hardened heart cannot, because a tender heart knows how to bend with grace instead of breaking under pressure. A tree with deep roots knows how to lean before the wind without being torn from the ground. Water knows how to move around the stone and still eventually flow into the sea. In the same way, tenderness, sanctified by me, will not make you easy to destroy, but will help you continue to love without losing yourself. Continue to trust without being naive. Continue to obey without being oppressed. And continue to open your heart while still remaining in wisdom. As it is written, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." Matthew 5:5. The meek are not those without strength. They are those who place their strength under my rule. And you will see that the places once cracked will no longer be only memories of pain. In my hands, they will become windows for light. The place where you once felt ashamed will become the place where you learn compassion. The place where you once felt afraid will become the place where you learn to uphold others. The place where you waited long will become the place where you learn to speak to weary souls that I am still faithful. I do not waste any part of you when you surrender it to me. As it is written, we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellence of the power may be of God and not of us. 2 Corinthians 4:7. The earthen vessel does not need to pretend it is made of gold. It only needs to let the treasure within testify that the power comes from me. So be at peace in my hands. If I am still deepening your heart, do not see it as meaningless delay. If I am still healing the cracks, do not think you have been left behind. If I am still softening the places that hardened in self-protection, do not resist my merciful hand. I am preparing you so that what I entrust to you will not crush you, so that enlargement will not draw you away from the presence, so that blessing will not cause you to lose humility, and so that the new role will not turn you into a stranger to your own soul. I am making you deeper, quieter, brighter, and Veder, and when the appointed time comes, you will understand that the waiting did not only prepare the door for you, it prepared you for the door. My beloved child, listen to me with a quieted heart, for not every movement that comes from heaven begins with a loud sound. There are seasons when I do not awaken you with thunder, but with a very deep peace entering the place where you once were confused. There are doors I do not open through outward shaking, but through a silent release within your soul, when you realize that you are no longer being pulled backward by old fears, when the things that once kept you awake suddenly no longer have the power to govern your breath, when a gentle faith begins to rise within you, even though your eyes have not yet seen a clear sign, then know this: I am bringing you into a new rhythm. As it is written, the wind blows where it wishes, and you hear its sound, but you do not know where it comes from or where it goes. John 3:8. You do not need to understand every path of the wind to know that the wind is blowing. You do not need to see the entire map to know that my hand is leading you. What I do within you sometimes begins as a very subtle awareness, but if that quiet thing comes from me, it carries enough power to redirect an entire life. Therefore, do not despise the very small holy stirrings within your heart. Do not say, "It is only a feeling," when my peace is quietly replacing confusion. Do not deny the first ray of light merely because the sun has not yet fully appeared on the horizon. You often expect me to come in unmistakable signs, yet I am also the one who came to Elijah, not in the mighty wind, not in the earthquake, and not in the fire, but in a still small voice. 1 Kings 19:12. Do you see, my child? I do not need to shake the mountains to prove that I am present. At times, my greatest power clothes itself in gentleness, because what I desire to touch is not merely the circumstances around you, but the deepest hidden place within you that has grown weary from waiting. I do not come to frighten you. I come to call you to rise. I do not whisper because I am weak. I whisper because I am near. There are things you thought were still locked, but in the unseen realm I have already placed my hand upon the latch. There are promises you thought had fallen asleep in the passing years, but before me, they have never died. You look at time and see delay. I look at preparation and see the appointed moment. You look at the door and see it standing silent. I look into your heart and know when you are steady enough to walk through it without being overwhelmed by the very thing you once prayed for. Remember what is written. See, I have set before you an open door, and no one can shut it. Revelation 3:8. When I open, you do not need to force your way through. When I call, you do not need to prove yourself worthy. When I assign your portion, no voice of condemnation can erase your name from what I have written. You are not held back by your weakness as much as you think. What matters more is whether you believe that I am stronger than every limitation surrounding you. I know you have passed through seasons of wondering whether there is still time for you, whether the promise still belongs to you, whether the silent years mean you have been forgotten. But, my beloved child, I do not measure your worth by the speed with which you arrive. I do not forget the one I am preparing. Remember Joseph, who saw the dream in his youth, but had to pass through the pit, the house of slavery, and the prison before he stood before Pharaoh's throne. The days in prison did not deny the dream. They only formed within him a heart wise enough to govern something great. When the appointed time came, Pharaoh sent and called Joseph, and they quickly brought him out of the dungeon. Genesis 41:14. Look closely. My child, many years of waiting were changed by a single summons. A life of being misunderstood was turned around in one morning. The door did not open little by little because Joseph forced it. The door opened when my hour had come. Likewise, you do not need to live in tension, as though everything depends on your ability to create a way for yourself. Your part is obedience, keeping your heart pure, and not letting go of faith while the path is still unclear, but the timing, the opening of doors, and the bringing of what has been buried into the light belong to me. As it is written, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit. Zechariah 4:6. You have tried long enough to secure your future by your own strength. Now, learn to walk according to my breath. When I tell you to stand, nod in peace. When I tell you to go, go, even if the ground beneath your feet has not yet parted. The people of Israel had to place their feet into the Jordan before the water stopped. The priests, carrying the Ark of the Covenant, stepped into the water, and then the river made way. Joshua 3:15-16. Faith does not always wait for every piece of evidence to appear before it moves. Faith hears my voice and sets its foot where I have spoken, trusting that the waters will yield to my will. My beloved child, I do not want you to mistake peace for delay. There are moments that appear very still on the outside. Yet in the spiritual realm, I am arranging things you cannot yet see. A seed lying in the soil may seem motionless, but inside it is breaking open so that life may rise. Dawn comes very gently, but once the light is spread, darkness cannot negotiate to remain. What I am doing within you is the same. At first it may be only a lightness in your soul, a fear that no longer takes root as deeply as before, a prayer that suddenly no longer catches in your throat, a small courage returning to your eyes. But do not despise the day of small beginnings. For my word has declared, who has despised the day of small things? Zechariah 4:10. What is small in my hand can become a river. A single ray of light in me can open an entire sky. One quiet step of obedience can bring you into the land you once thought you would never touch. Therefore, when the old chains no longer tighten around your soul as they once did, give thanks instead of doubting. When you feel an inner spaciousness beginning to open within you, Bow your heart and recognize that I am making room for you to contain something greater. When you no longer react with fear, as you did in former days, do not treat it as coincidence. It is the fingerprint of grace. I am changing you before I change the scenery around you. Because a person who is not free within can step into a spacious place and still live like a prisoner. I do not only want to bring you to an open door, I want you to pass through that door with a spirit no longer trembling before the past. I do not only want to give you the promised portion, I want you to be peaceful enough to enjoy the promise without fearing that it will be taken away. Incline your heart toward me, my child, for my word to you is not a rebuke that makes you shrink back, but a call that awakens the identity I placed within you long ago. Before you knew your own name, I knew the road you would walk. Before you recognized your weakness, I had already prepared grace sufficient for you. Before others judged you, I had already called you by a name no one has the authority to take away. As it is written, I have called you by your name, you are mine. Isaiah 43:1. Therefore, do not let temporary voices cause you to doubt what is eternal. Do not let one slow season make you conclude that the promise has been canceled. Do not let the silence of the earth cause you to forget that heaven is still speaking. There will come a time when you look back and understand that the change began earlier than you realized. Not when everyone recognized you. Not when the door opened before your eyes. Not when the circumstances became clear. It began from the moment you sensed within your heart a very gentle wind. A strange peace. A deep voice saying, keep walking, I am with you. And as you walk, you will see that what I promised has not been worn down by time. As you believe, you will see that faith will not put you to shame. As you remain in me, you will understand that every true door belonging to me opens at the right time, in the right way, and leads you to the exact place I have prepared. Be at peace, my beloved child. The wind has shifted. The light has begun to rise. And what I have begun in you, I will bring to completion with faithfulness that can never be shaken. My beloved child, there are times when you look at yourself and see only empty places. But I look at you and see what I planted long before you fully understood your own name. You once thought you had to be strong enough before you could step into the portion I promised. Wise enough before you could be entrusted. Whole enough before you could stand in the place I had prepared. But my child, if everything depended on your perfection, then grace would no longer be grace. I do not call you because you have no cracks. I call you because my power can shine even through those cracks. As it is written, but we have this treasure in jars of clay, to show that the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. 2 Corinthians 4:7. You are not the source of the calling. You are the vessel I have chosen to carry what comes from heaven. Therefore, do not allow what you still lack to speak louder than what I have declared. Do not turn your weakest day into a sentence over your entire journey. Do not use the moments when you trembled as proof that you do not belong to the promise. I knew you clearly before you knew how to pray, and I placed my purpose upon you before you knew how to respond. It is not your self-confidence that makes the calling secure, but my faithfulness that keeps you within that calling. When I choose a person, I am not surprised by the process that person must pass through. I saw Moses trembling before the burning bush, and I heard him say that he was slow of speech, hesitant, and not capable enough to stand before Pharaoh. But I did not withdraw the commission because of his stammering. I said, I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall speak. Exodus 4:12. Do you see? My child, what made Moses sufficient was not his fluency, but my presence going with him. I say the same to you. Your preparation does not begin with feeling that you are enough, but with trusting that the one who called you is enough. There are measures of power I do not give to those who think they have no need of me. but I gladly pour them upon the one who knows how to lean on me step by step. You once feared that weakness would disqualify you, but in my hands, the very place of weakness becomes the dwelling place of grace. My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. Therefore, do not be ashamed that you are being shaped. Do not step back simply because you do not yet understand everything. I do not require you to walk as one who already knows the entire road. I only invite you to walk as one who knows that the Father is holding your hand. Perhaps you have asked yourself, if I am truly chosen, why do I still have to struggle? If you have truly called me, why are there still moments when I feel unsettled? But, my beloved child, being chosen does not exempt you from the process. Being chosen gives your process a holy meaning. David was anointed while he was still very young, but he did not immediately sit upon the throne. He still returned to the pasture, still faced Goliath, still had to pass through caves, misunderstanding, pursuit, and long nights when I alone was his refuge. Yet the oil upon his head never dried up in the seasons when he was hidden. What I had placed upon him continued to operate quietly until the day the throne opened at the appointed time. In the same way, you may still be in a familiar pasture, but do not think heaven has forgotten the seal upon you. What I have placed within you is not canceled, simply because your circumstances have not yet called it by name. Let your heart be released from the burden of having to prove yourself. You do not need to fight to be seen. You do not need to strain to become worthy of what I have given by grace. As I have spoken, you did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you, that you should go and bear fruit. John 15:16. You were chosen not to stand still in insecurity, but to bear fruit in union with me. That fruit does not come from tension, but from abiding. No branch forces itself to bear fruit through anxiety. It simply remains in the vine. When you abide in me, what I have placed within you will grow in its proper season. When you cling to me, the part of you that seemed dry will receive the flow of life again. And now, I want you to remember one more thing. My seal is not as fragile as the opinions of people. What others do not see in you, I still see. What others underestimate, I can still lift up at the right time. Gideon once hid in the winepress because he feared the enemy. Yet my angel called him a mighty man of valor before he felt mighty and courageous. Judges 6:12. I called him according to what I had placed within him, not according to his temporary appearance of fear. The same is true of you. I do not call you according to your wounds. I call you according to my purpose. I do not call you according to your past. I call you according to the future I have already illuminated. You may be trembling, but my word remains firm. You may not yet see yourself as I see you, but that does not make my vision wrong. Therefore, rise in the gentleness of faith. Do not rise as one who must prove that you are not weak. Rise as one who knows your Father is strong. Do not keep walking because you are no longer afraid. Keep walking because even while you still tremble, you trust that I am with you. Your maturity is not the day you no longer need me, but the day you know you need me deeply, peacefully, and without shame. I do not give you authority so that you may separate from me. I give you authority so that you may grow in union with me. I do not place a calling upon you as a crushing burden. I place it as a holy seed, and I will water it, tend it, protect it, and cause it to bear fruit in its season. My beloved child, from now on, do not speak of yourself as though you are a mistake waiting to be corrected. You are the work I am bringing to completion. Do not call yourself insufficient when I have declared that my grace is sufficient. Do not allow yesterday's lack to obscure today's invitation. He who began a good work in you will bring it to completion until the day of Jesus Christ. Philippians 1:6. I have begun. and I do not leave my work unfinished. I have called, and I do not change my mind. I have placed my seal, and no circumstance has the authority to erase what belongs to me. Step into the new day with a heart that is tender, yet steadfast. Because you do not walk under a name you created for yourself, you walk under my calling, and what I have appointed over you will not be defeated by your weakness. For in the very place where you see yourself as smallest, I will reveal that my hand is still large enough to lift you into the fullness of what I promised. My beloved child, I have seen the nights when you lay in silence and no longer had enough words to name your weariness. I know there have been moments when you did not fall outwardly, yet inwardly you were almost collapsing, times when you still smiled at the world, while in the hidden place you were holding on to a fragile ray of light like a traveler clutching a small lamp in the wilderness. Yet, my child, do not despise that ray of light. A small spark in my hand can become a torch that leads the way through an entire long season. A choked prayer can still touch the throne of grace. A trembling yet obedient step has more value than 1,000 powerful declarations without faithfulness. As it is written, a bruised reed he will not break, and a faintly burning wick he will not quench. Isaiah 42:3. I do not come to extinguish what remains within you. I come to breathe life into it, so that what seemed about to fade may burn again with my holy fire. Perhaps you have thought weakness was a sign that you were falling behind. But I want you to look deeper with the eyes of faith. Not every trembling is failure. There are tremblings that prove you are still standing in a place that should have made you give up. There are tears that are not collapse, but water for an inner ground that I am softening again. You thought you were losing strength, but in the silence, I am rebuilding foundational layers you did not have before. As I spoke to Paul, my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. 2 Corinthians 12:9. What you call a limitation, I can turn into a place where my power is revealed. What you call exhaustion, I can use to teach you to stop leaning on your own strength and begin resting fully upon my everlasting arm. Therefore, every time you choose what is right, even when your heart is weary, I see it. Every time you keep your mouth from bitter words, even when pain wants to speak, I take notice. Every time you continue to forgive, continue to pray, continue to live tenderly when life has given you reason to become hard, I am placing spiritual sinews within you that the natural eye cannot measure. True steadfastness is not always formed amid the sound of cheering. Often it is born in the room no one knows about, where you still choose faithfulness when no one praises you. Daniel did not become a man who could stand before the lion's den in a single day. He was formed through many seasons of persistent prayer beside the window facing Jerusalem. Even when the king's decree threatened his life, when they threw him into the dark den, what sustained him was not only an immediate miracle, but also a life forged in hidden faithfulness. And I sent my angel to shut the lions' mouths, because the one who knows how to kneel before me will not be devoured by the roar of the world. My beloved child, there are seasons when I hide you, not because I have forgotten you, but because I am protecting what I have planted within you from impatient hands, from eyes that do not yet understand, from winds that come too early and could wound the tender sprout just beginning to rise. A seed lying beneath the soil is not covered by the earth in order to be erased. It is sheltered so its roots may have time to go deep. In the darkness of the soil, the most important thing is not being seen, but being firmly rooted. You have wondered why you have not yet been brought into the light, why your efforts have not yet been recognized, why you are still in a place that seems small, hidden, and quiet. But I say to you, do not confuse the hidden place with abandonment. Unless a grain of wheat falls into the earth and dies, it remains alone, but if it dies, it bears much fruit. John 12:24. There are things that must fall before they rise. There are parts of the self that must grow silent before true life can multiply. There are seasons when you must be buried in holy privacy, so that tomorrow you will not be carried away by public visibility. Remember Abraham, who received the promise when there was no visible sign sufficient to guarantee it. His body was already old, and Sarah had passed the age of childbearing. Yet my word does not need favorable circumstances in order to become true. He did not waver through unbelief regarding the promise of God, but was strengthened in faith. Romans 4:20. Do you see? My child, faith is not the denial of a difficult reality. Faith is looking directly at that reality and still believing that I am greater than it. When you have only a very thin thread of hope left, do not think that thread is useless. In my hand, even a thin cord can pull you out of the depths of despair. In my hand, a seed as small as a mustard seed can grow into a tree where the birds of the air may come and find shelter. What is small in you, when placed within my faithfulness, will no longer be as small as you think. There are roots within you that have grown deeper each time you chose not to hold on to resentment. There are streams of life that have spread wider each time you dared to pray again after disappointment. There are layers of strength that have been built up through every day you did not give up. Even when no one witnessed the battle within your heart, I have seen you rise after moments when you thought you had no strength left. I have seen you guard your heart from bitterness, even when you were misunderstood. I have seen you sow what is good with tears. And my word is written, those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. Psalm 126:5. Your tears are not wasted. Your hidden faithfulness is not forgotten. The days that seem to be nothing more than endurance are in my hand, becoming a season of sowing for a harvest you have not yet fully seen. Then, when the new season opens, you will understand why I did not hurry to remove you from every difficult place. It was not because I delight in seeing you hurt, but because I know there are holy measures of endurance that are formed only when you learn to lean on me in the fire. Gold is not refined in a cool breeze, but in a burning furnace. Fragrance does not flow from an alabaster jar while it remains sealed, but when it is opened and poured out, the same is true of you. There are some of the most beautiful parts of you that are revealed not when everything is easy, but when you still keep your heart pure under pressure. As Job declared in the midst of trial, when he has tested me, I shall come forth as gold. Job 23:10. You are not defined by the fire, you are refined by the fire. You are not swallowed by the trial. I am bringing you through it with a new depth, a new maturity, and a new authority that does not come from words, but from a life refined through pain. Therefore, be at peace in what you cannot yet see. Believe that beneath the soil of delay, I am still making your roots stronger. Believe that in the room of long nights, I am still placing more life into your soul. Believe that when you have only enough faith for one step, I can still use that one step to lead you to the other side. I do not require you to carry the entire future today. I only invite you to place today into my hands. Do not try to prove that you are not weak. Let me become strength in the place where you are weak. Do not dig up the seed too soon simply because you have not yet seen the sprout. Let the holy process complete its work. For what I am doing within you is not as fragile as a passing emotion, nor is it easily destroyed by a dark season. I am building within you a durable spiritual frame, a faith with sinews, a love with deep roots, and a peace that does not depend on circumstances. My beloved child, on the day you step out of the hidden season, you will not come forth as one who merely survived in fear, but as one whom I have made steady in the place no one saw. You will not boast in your own strength, but you will know clearly that it was I who kept you through every night. You will not collapse under the pressure of the new, because within you, I have forged strength through each quiet act of faithfulness. And when the light touches what I have nurtured in the darkness, you will understand that I never forgot you for even a single moment. I was only preparing you more deeply than you imagined, protecting you more carefully than you knew, and leading you toward a season of fruitfulness beyond what you once dared to ask. Keep clinging to me, even if only by a small ray of hope. In my hand, that ray of hope is enough to open the dawn. My beloved child, there are seasons when you look around and see others seemingly going farther, faster, and brighter, while you feel as though you have been placed in a hidden corner no one even names. You see them stepping through wide open doors, hear them speak of harvest seasons, watch them stand in the light of recognition, while you remain in the quiet place, still wrestling with unanswered questions, still wondering whether you have fallen behind everyone else, whether I have passed over you while giving opportunities to others. But my child, allow me to correct the way you see that darkness. Not every dark place is a place of rejection. There is the darkness of a prison, but there is also the darkness of the soil where a seed is protected. There is the silence of punishment, but there is also the silence of gestation, where what is living is being formed before it is revealed. I am not holding you back to humiliate you. I am holding you there to nourish your roots in the depths of faith, because what I am preparing for you cannot be sustained by a fragile foundation. Remember that the higher a tree is called to grow, the deeper its roots must go. If you only long to be seen quickly, lifted quickly, and placed quickly into a spacious place, yet within you there is not enough strength to withstand the wind, the very thing you prayed for could cause you to topple. I love you too much to give you a new season while the roots within you are still shallow. I am not only concerned with the door being opened for you, I am concerned with whether you will remain standing after the door has opened. As it is written, he shall be like a tree planted by streams of water, that yields its fruit in its season, and its leaf does not wither. Psalm 1:3. That tree does not flourish because it is seen by many, but because it is planted by the right source. In the same way, you are not strong because everyone recognizes you. You are strong because your soul is rooted deeply in me, where the living water never runs dry. Therefore, do not draw hasty conclusions about your life simply because you are in a hidden chapter. What is concealed today may be the very thing I am protecting from winds that would come too soon. The days when no one sees you are not meaningless days. It is there that I teach you how to pray when there is no applause, how to remain faithful when there is no immediate reward, how to keep walking when only my word is the lamp for your feet. Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path. Psalm 119, 105. That lamp does not always illuminate the whole long road. Often it gives enough light for only one step. But my beloved child, one step in, my light is safer than 1,000 steps in human haste. If I show you only enough to walk today, then walk with me today. Tomorrow will have the light appointed for tomorrow. I am not ashamed of your tears. So why are you ashamed of them? I do not despise the hours when you tremble. So why do you condemn yourself? Your tears do not make you less spiritual. They prove that your heart is still tender before me. There are tears that wash away layers of dust that words cannot reach. There are weak nights that become altars, where you no longer bring me a false image of strength, but bring me yourself in naked honesty. And I love that truth. As it is written, the Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves the crushed in spirit. Psalm 34:18. I am not far from you when you cry. I do not turn my face away when you are weary. I bend closer, because in the place your heart thinks is shattered, I can plant the seeds of true endurance. You once thought strength meant never falling, never fearing, never wavering. But I say to you, Strength in my kingdom is not a face without tears, but a heart that still chooses me in the midst of tears. Strength is not the absence of feeling the wind. It is being rooted so deeply that the wind cannot pull you away from me. Strength is not your ability to make yourself hard. It is knowing how to lean on me when you no longer have enough strength in yourself. When Peter walked on the sea, he became afraid when he saw the strong wind, and he began to sink. But what must be remembered is not only that he sank. What must be remembered is that he cried out, "Lord, save me." And immediately I reached out my hand and took hold of him. Matthew 14:30-31. Do you see? My child, a sinking person who knows how to cry out to me is still closer to a miracle than someone standing on the shore without faith. If you have trembled, feared, or run out of breath, that does not cancel your journey. As long as you reach your hand toward me, I will still take hold of you. There is a story you must keep within your heart, the story of Esther. She did not enter the king's palace as someone who already understood the fullness of her destiny. Perhaps she, too, once felt small in the midst of unfamiliar power, placed in a position she had not chosen, carrying an identity she had to keep hidden. But those hidden years were not forgetfulness, they were arrangement. When the time came for my people to be threatened, Mordecai said to her, "Who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this?" Esther 4:14. My beloved child, there are seasons when you think you are merely being held in a confusing circumstance. But in truth, I am placing you near the door of a mission. The things you learn in secret today may become keys of deliverance for many tomorrow. Your hiddenness is not useless. It is preparing you for a moment when you will need to stand firm not only for yourself, but also for the souls I entrust to you. Therefore, every time you rise again after stumbling, I carve deeper within you a tendon of perseverance. Every time you keep walking, though you are still afraid, I place another bone of courage within your soul. Every time you do not retaliate, do not become bitter, do not give up, and do not bury yourself in shame. I am building an inner structure within you that storms cannot easily tear down. People often see only the day when the tree blossoms, but I see the months when its roots silently push through hard soil. People may only see you standing firm in a season of pressure, but I know that strength was formed in the nights when you felt weakest. The testing of your faith produces steadfastness. James 1:3. That steadfastness is not lifeless endurance. It is a holy capacity to remain in my will until life is fully revealed. Then the new season will open, and you will realize that I am not bringing you into it like a child who has never been trained. You will not enter with the weak feet of your first day, but with a steadiness built through many times of rising again. You will not collapse under the pressure of blessing, because the years that seemed like delay have taught you how to bow low, how to discern, how to guard your heart, and how not to exchange my presence for the applause of the crowd. When the door opens, you will not need to panic in order to prove that you belong there. You will step in like a tree with roots, like one who knows dawn is real after passing through a long night, like a soul that has learned that I never waste a single one of your tears. Therefore, let peace replace the feeling of being left behind. You are not falling behind, you are being rooted deeply. You are not forgotten, you are being preserved. You are not being delayed without meaning. You are being prepared for the weight of what is coming. Do not envy the light of others, because the light appointed for you also has its time. Do not dig up your roots to see whether they have grown. Remain in me, and the growth will reveal itself in due season. Be steadfast, immovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, knowing that your labor in the Lord is not in vain. 1 Corinthians 15:58. Not one faithful night of yours is wasted. Not one trembling step is despised. Not one tear falls outside my remembrance. I am building within you a firm inner frame, a spirit with depth, a faith that can withstand strong winds. And when the day comes for you to stand in the middle of the new season, you will understand that the very darkness you once feared was the place where I quietly nourished the strength that would help you stand firm in the light. My beloved child, be still for a moment and recognize that this hour is no longer the hour of your old endurance. A very holy threshold is opening within your soul, where the night has not completely vanished, yet the light has begun to touch the edge of the sky. Do not fear that dim moment, because dawn always carries within itself both the traces of the night and the promise of the day. I do not require you to see everything clearly before you believe. I invite you to recognize the first light and walk toward it. As it is written, the path of the righteous is like the light of dawn, which shines brighter and brighter until full day. Proverbs 4:18. You are not standing in an abandoned ending. You are standing in a transition of seasons. What once was a trial, I am turning into a step beneath your feet. What once wounded you, I am turning into depth. What you thought was merely endurance, I have used to prepare you for a destiny you have not yet been brave enough to name. There were days when you thought you were merely surviving hour by hour. But I want you to understand, you were not only surviving, you were being refined, preserved, shaped, and sheltered in my hand. Every seed you sowed in tears did not fall into meaningless emptiness. Every prayer you uttered in weariness did not dissolve into the wind. Every time you chose what was right when your heart wanted to give up. Every time you guarded your heart from bitterness when no one knew you were hurting. I held it all. Those who sow in tears shall reap with shouts of joy. Psalm 126:5. You sowed in seasons without applause, in rooms no one witnessed, in nights when only I heard your sighs. And I say to you today, the harvest does not forget the sower. The light does not forget the seed. I do not forget you. Therefore, when the door of the new season begins to open, do not step into it as one carrying pride, nor as one still afraid of being unworthy. Step into it as one who is grateful. Grateful that I did not allow you to fall apart in the long night. Grateful that I did not entrust you with something great before your heart was soft enough to hold it. Grateful that the delays were not rejection, but protection. I did not only prepare the destination for you, I prepared you for that destination. As it is written, the Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Psalm 138:8. What belongs to you and me does not need to be seized through tension. It will come through my arrangement, so that when you receive it, you will not bow your head before your own achievement, but bow your heart before my grace. I know you have passed through a kind of loneliness that is difficult for others to understand. Loneliness is not always an empty room or a table with no one sitting beside you. There is a deeper loneliness when your soul carries a calling that no one else has yet recognized, when you are in the middle of a crowd and still feel as though you are hearing a sound from a place they cannot hear, when you smile, work, converse, and remain present. Yet within you, there is a quiet sanctuary where you can meet only me. Others see your surface, but I see your depth. Others hear your words, but I hear the breaths you have not yet been able to turn into speech. And I want you to know this, that silence does not make you strange in my eyes. It is the place where I have hidden a holy part of you from the noise that would dilute your calling. You have wondered why you cannot easily compromise with the things others call normal, why there are paths that seem convenient, yet your heart still has no peace, why there are choices considered good enough, yet deep within you still hear a higher call. My beloved child, that is not the finickiness of your soul. It is the trace of what I have placed within you. When I call someone to something deeper, that person cannot live forever in shallowness without feeling pain. When I place a fire within you, You cannot remain a lasting companion of ashes. As it is written, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. And before you were born, I consecrated you. Jeremiah 1:5. You did not create that calling yourself. I placed it within you beforehand, and because it comes from me. The world cannot explain it by ordinary measures. Remember Samuel when he was still a child in the temple. At first, he did not understand where that calling was coming from. He heard someone calling his name in the night, and he ran to Eli, thinking it was a human voice. But it was not Eli who called, it was I. And the Lord came and stood, calling as at other times, Samuel, Samuel, at Samuel tree, T. Do you see? My child, there are calls that at first confuse you because they do not sound like the familiar voices of people. There are things I place within you that even those around you may need time to recognize. But just because you do not yet fully understand does not mean the calling is not real. Just because others have not yet seen it does not mean I have not spoken. Samuel learned to say, Speak, for your servant is listening. In the same way, instead of running everywhere in search of confirmation, be still before me and say, Father, I am listening. From that place, you will understand that your loneliness is not a sentence, but a room of formation. I have used those silences to separate you from the noise of small expectations, so that you would not be molded into the shape of the crowd, so that you would learn to distinguish my voice from the voice of fear, my voice from the voice of haste, my voice from the voice that craves recognition. You have had seasons when you wanted to surrender to what was easier, but your heart would not allow it. You've had moments when you only wanted to live lightly like everyone else, but the calling within you pulled you back toward faithfulness. Do not resent that. It is the seal of being set apart. As it is written, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Romans 12:2. I did not set you apart so that you would become prouder than others. I set you apart so that you would belong to me more deeply. And now, as the light begins to rise, you will see many things that once seemed scattered being joined together by my hand. The lonely nights taught you how to listen. The seasons of being misunderstood taught you how to stand. The delays taught you patience. The tears kept your heart tender. The times you refused to compromise kept your path clean. None of these were meaningless fragments. They were materials I used to build within you a person of depth, gratitude, discernment, and the ability to step into the new season without losing your soul. When others see the flowers bloom, they may not know how long the winter was, but I know every cold wind, every long night, every moment when you almost let go and still chose to remain with me. And because I know, I will not allow your faithfulness to fall to the ground without bearing fruit. My beloved child, lift your head, but keep your heart humble. Step forward, but do not lose the tenderness that was refined through tears. Receive what I give, but do not forget the hand that held you when you had nothing to boast about. The new season does not come so you may exalt yourself. It comes to reveal my faithfulness. It does not come to prove that you are greater than anyone else. It comes to show that I can make something beautiful within a soul that has been preserved through darkness. As it is written, arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord has risen upon you. Isaiah 60:1. It is not a light you manufactured for yourself, but the light I have placed upon you. It is not glory for you to keep for yourself, but glory that causes others to know that I still restore, still uphold, and still complete what I have begun. Therefore, do not fear the dawn simply because it is not yet fully bright. Do not doubt the calling simply because it once made you lonely. Do not be ashamed that you cannot live a shallow life when I have placed depth within you. What you sowed in secret, I am calling into the light. What you guarded in faithfulness, I am causing to bloom in its proper season. What you thought had been buried is becoming the root of a new steadiness. Keep walking, my beloved child, with a heart made whole in me. The night is no longer a prison holding you captive. It has become the place where I prepared you. And as the new day opens wide before you, you will not step into it as someone who was accidentally rescued from the night, but as one whom I led through the night to carry light with a mature, grateful spirit that belongs wholly to me. My beloved child, daybreak is not pure darkness, nor is it the full brightness of noon. It is the moment when two realities touch, where the night still leaves a faint trace across the sky. Yet the light has already begun to declare its rule. And you are in such a moment. You no longer belong to the night as you once did. But neither do you need to rush to prove that you are standing in the fullness of day. I am leading you through a sacred transition, where your soul learns to recognize that true light does not need noise in order to triumph. It only needs to be present, and the darkness retreats on its own. As it is written, the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. John 1:5. You have walked long enough through confusing things that you no longer panic before darkness. You have cried deeply enough to know that tears cannot extinguish the promise. You have endured enough silence to understand that my silence is not my absence. Now, what I am doing is not only bringing you out of the night, but teaching you how to carry light without losing the humility that was refined in that night. There are people who only desire the light because they fear the darkness, but through the long seasons, you have learned that even in the darkness, I am still God. There are people who only desire to be lifted because they have never been tested in the low place, but you have learned how to bow, how to wait, how to continue obeying when no one is watching. Therefore, I do not entrust inheritance to you as an empty reward to satisfy self-exaltation, but as a holy responsibility for a soul that has been prepared. I do not hastily place glory into immature hands, because glory, if not carried with humility, can become a dangerous burden. Yet I also do not withhold what belongs to you when the time has fully matured. As it is written, the heir, as long as he is a child, is no different from a slave, though he is the owner of everything. Galatians 4:1. The inheritance is real, but the timing of receiving it must come with maturity. I have not denied your portion. I have only been growing you enough to hold that portion without being corrupted by it. Understand this, my child. Maturity is not the moment when you no longer have emotions, but the moment when emotions no longer rule over you. Maturity is not the moment when you no longer desire to be seen, but the moment when you refuse to sell your soul in order to be seen. Maturity is not the moment when you no longer feel afraid, but the moment when you learn to place your fear beneath my word. You have walked through seasons when even you could not understand why your heart could no longer return to the old things. Places that were once familiar suddenly became too narrow. Conversations that were once easy suddenly no longer nourished your soul. Choices that seemed ordinary began to awaken a very deep warning within you. Do not be afraid of that feeling. It is not proof that you are lost. It is a sign that you are being drawn out of the old garment. No one puts new wine into old wineskins. Mark 2:22. I am renewing your capacity so that what I am about to entrust to you will not cause you to break because you were unprepared. Therefore, do not treat your loneliness as a sentence. There is a kind of loneliness born from wounding, but there is also a kind of loneliness born from being set apart. I do not desire for you to live isolated in bitterness, but I may allow you to pass through seasons when few understand you, so that your ears may become more sensitive to my voice than to the crowd. You have not been forgotten among the multitude. You have been separated from the noise so you can hear clearly what belongs to your destiny. Remember John the Baptist, who grew up in the wilderness until the day he was revealed to Israel. The wilderness was not the place where he was excluded from the plan. The wilderness was the place where his voice was purified, so that when the time came for him to cry out, an entire nation was called to prepare the way of the Lord. As it is written, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, "Prepare the way of the Lord, make his path straight." Matthew 3:3. Do you say, "My child, the desolate place does not weaken the calling. If I am in it, the desolate place can make the calling more refined, sharper, and more aligned with its appointed season." In the same way, the days when you feel you no longer belong to the old place are not meaningless days. They are a sign that I am moving you from one form of life into another. You no longer fit the garment of the previous season because your soul has grown through trial. Do not try to shrink yourself just to be accepted in places where I have already completed my work in you. Do not go back searching for safety in what I am calling you to leave. When Abram heard me say, "Go from your country and your kindred and your father's house to the land that I will show you," Genesis 12:1. He did not have the entire map in his hand. He had only the call, and that call was enough to begin a covenant. The same is true for you. There are departures that do not happen because you hate the old place, but because I have prepared a new land for you. Not belonging can sometimes be the bell announcing that your soul has been appointed for something wider. I know there are days when waiting has made you weary. I know there are moments when being different has caused you to wonder whether you are too sensitive, too deep, too difficult to understand. But my beloved child, I did not create you to become a faded copy of the crowd. I placed within you a distinct seal, a distinct rhythm of hearing, a distinct depth, not so that you would become proud, but so that you would remain faithful to the portion entrusted to you. When people do not understand your caution, I understand. When they do not understand why you cannot compromise, I understand. When they do not understand why you still wait while easy opportunities stand open before you, I understand. The Lord looks on the heart, 1 Samuel 16:7, and I have seen your heart in the places no one else could look into. I see the faithfulness that receives no praise. I see the obedience that receives no applause. I see the times you chose the narrow road when the broad road called to you with convenience. Therefore, when the hour I have appointed comes, you will no longer see the years of waiting as empty spaces that were lost. You will recognize them as chapters written in invisible ink, becoming clear only when the light of the right season shines upon them. Every time you had to stand apart in order to keep your heart clean. Every moment you felt so different that you did not know whom to speak to. Every night you told me that you did not understand, but still wanted to obey. All of it has been woven into the garment of your destiny. I do not waste a single season. I do not forget a single tear. I do not allow a single prayer to fall to the ground unheard. As it is written, all things work together for good for those who love God, for those who are called according to his purpose. Romans 8:28. Even what once wounded you can be placed by me into the greater story of redemption, so that it no longer remains a wound that governs you, but becomes a testimony of my faithfulness. Now daybreak is opening, and I want you to walk in discernment. Do not run too quickly because you have seen the first light, but do not stand still because you can still see the darkness behind you. Walk with me. There are things I will open gradually so your heart will not be swept away by overwhelm. There are doors I will open clearly so you will no longer doubt. There are people I will place along your journey, not to define your worth, but to carry the work of the new season with you. You do not need to rush to place yourself in the light. The light I have placed upon you will find you at the right time. Like Joseph in the dungeon, when my hour came, they quickly brought him before Pharaoh. Yet he did not come forth with pride. He said, "It is not in me, God will give Pharaoh a favorable answer. Genesis 41:16. That is the mark of one who has matured, being lifted up while still knowing that the source of wisdom is not within oneself. My beloved child, I do not only want you to receive the inheritance, I want you to keep your heart pure when the inheritance comes. I do not only want you to step into the light, I want you to still remember how to kneel in the light as you once knelt in the night. I do not only want you to be recognized, I want you not to lose intimacy with me when others begin to call your name. Therefore, what I entrust to you will come with grace to keep you, with wisdom to guide you, and with peace to anchor you. Let gratitude go before every achievement. Let humility guard the door of your soul. Let the memory of the nights when I lifted you become a holy fragrance, reminding you that every good thing comes from me. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. James 1:17. When you remember this, glory will not lead you astray. It will cause you to worship more deeply. Therefore, do not be afraid while you are standing in the dawn. Do not grieve because the darkness has not yet fully disappeared, for the light has already begun to prevail. Do not be ashamed of the loneliness that has accompanied you, because it was in that very loneliness that I taught you to hear my voice, to know yourself, and to remain faithful to what no one else could see. You are not on the wrong path simply because few people understand you. You are not forgotten simply because the hour of revealing has not yet come. You have not lost your season simply because you had to wait longer than you expected. I have appointed the time, and my time does not come late. When it arrives, you will understand that waiting was part of the preparation. Difference was part of being set apart, and the feeling of no longer belonging to the old place was an invitation to step into a new land. Keep walking, my child. The light has touched the horizon of your soul. The night no longer has the authority to rule as it once did, and as the new day opens wide, you will enter it not as an immature one, overwhelmed by glory, but as one whom I have raised in secret, tender enough to be grateful, steady enough to stand, and belonging deeply enough to me not to lose yourself in what I entrust to you. My beloved child, I have seen you on the roads no one else could fully behold. I have seen you pass through seasons when you were pressed like metal in the fire. I have seen you endure pressures that no one on the outside could measure. I have seen days when you seemed to have only enough strength left to breathe, yet you still did not allow your heart to become bitter. I have seen you wait when the promise seemed far away, still guarding a small spark of faith within your chest, like someone keeping watch over a lamp in the long night. I have seen you stumble, but you did not let the fall define your name. I have seen you disappointed, but you did not make that disappointment your identity. I have seen you tested, but you did not let go of my hand. And now I say to you, those refining furnaces were never a sign that I had abandoned you. They were the place where I strengthened you from within, where I removed what was fragile, prone to pride, and easily afraid, so that what is true, pure, and enduring within you could begin to shine. As it is written, the tested genuineness of your faith, more precious than gold that perishes though it is tested by fire. 1 Peter 1:7. You did not merely pass through the fire itself bore witness that within you there is a faith that does not belong to the dust of the earth. Do not think that the years of trial were merely delay. There are things you call slow, but I call deep. There are things you call being held back, but I call being made steady. A bridge is not built merely to look beautiful under the sunlight. It must be able to bear the weight of those who will cross over it. In the same way, your soul is not being prepared only to receive blessing, but also to bear the weight of that blessing. If I gave you something great while your heart still depended on the recognition of others, that very greatness could cause you to lose direction. If I placed the inheritance in your hands while you still did not know to whom you belonged, you might use the inheritance to search for identity instead of living from the identity already given to you. But now, after the seasons of being shaped, you have learned something more precious than every applause. You belong to me, and the one who knows they belong to me is not easily swept away by praise, nor easily destroyed by criticism. Remember the son who returned after his wasteful days. When he came back to his father's house, he did not bring achievements to justify himself, nor merits to demand his position back. He brought only a heart that had awakened after tasting the bitterness of distance. But the father ran out and embraced him, refusing to let him remain in the identity of a hired servant. The father said, "Bring quickly the best robe, and put it on him, and put a ring on his hand, and shoes on his feet." Luke 15. Arshrar. Do you see? My child, the robe did not merely cover his body, it spoke of restoration. The ring did not merely adorn his hand, it spoke of inheritance. The shoes did not merely help him walk, they declared that he was no longer a barefoot slave, but a son in his father's house. What belonged to the son was not erased by his wandering journey, but his return made him awake enough to wear that portion with gratitude rather than pride. In the same way, my child, I do not see you through the seasons when you once lost your way, grew weak in heart, or did not yet understand yourself. I see you through covenant, through love, through the purpose I placed upon you before you knew how to pray. Yet I also know that position must be carried with maturity. Inheritance is not only something received, inheritance is also something guarded. Some receive blessing while their hearts remain impoverished, and so they turn blessing into a burden. Some are lifted up while their souls are not yet anchored in me, and so they lose the tenderness that once made them beautiful before me. I do not want that for you. I led you through the seasons of night, not to shame you, but to teach you humility, not to make you smaller, but to help you know the true source of strength, not to delay your portion forever, but so that when that portion is entrusted to you, you may keep it with a whole heart. Therefore, do not mistake maturity for no longer having weakness. Maturity is knowing how to bring your weakness back to me instead of letting it drive you away from me. Maturity is not the absence of trembling, but standing under my word even while your heart still trembles. Maturity is not no longer needing healing, but refusing to let old wounds govern the way you see yourself. Paul heard me say, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." 2 Corinthians 12:9. You have learned that secret. You no longer use weakness as a reason to deny the calling. You have begun to understand that in the very place where you lack, I can reveal my sufficiency. In the very place where you are limited, I can open the way for my power. In the very place where you cannot boast in yourself, true glory is returned to the one to whom it belongs. Now I speak to you with gentleness yet certainty. You are mature enough to carry your portion, not because you have become perfect, but because you have stopped placing your identity upon perfection, not because you no longer have weary days, but because you have learned where to run when weariness comes. Not because you are always strong, but because you have learned that true strength does not come from an outward appearance of hardness, but from being deeply rooted in me. Inheritance is not for the one still wandering in search of who they are in the eyes of the world. Inheritance is worn by the one who is settled into the Father's spoken word. You no longer have to beg for recognition like someone standing outside the door. You no longer have to live as a stranger in your own house. I have affirmed you from heaven, and that affirmation does not need to bow before the shifting measures of people. From the landmark day when the season begins to turn, you will recognize that your inner stature has changed. You will not become greater because others see you, but because you no longer shrink yourself to fit old fears. The way you think will become broader, because you will no longer see everything through the eyes of lack. The way you walk will become steadier, because you will no longer move like someone afraid, their portion can be taken away. The way you face trials will become deeper, because you have learned that difficulty is not always a sign of opposition. Many times, it is the place where I continue to reveal my rule within you. As it is written, "The Lord is my chosen portion and my cup. You hold my lot." Psalm 16:5. Your portion is not as fragile as today's emotions. It is not canceled by a season of strong winds. It does not fall from my hand simply because you sometimes tremble. Look at Joshua when Moses had died. He stood before a promised land not yet possessed, before a people who needed to be led, before battles that had not yet taken place. If he had looked to his own strength, surely his heart would have wavered. But I said to him, "Be strong and courageous, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Joshua 1:9. The promised land is not given to those who have no need of me. The promised land is entered by those who know how to obey me, step by step. Joshua did not merely receive a land, he received the responsibility of leading the people into what I had promised. And the same is true for you. The portion I entrust to you is not only to make you rejoice, but so that through you, many things may be set in order, many people may be encouraged, and many doors of hope may be opened for souls who are waiting for the light. Therefore, my beloved child, step into the new season with deep gratitude. Remember the furnace, but do not carry the smell of bitter smoke. Remember the tears, but do not let the tears become chains. Remember the times I kept you when no one knew, so that when others see you standing firm, you will still know that you stand because of my hand. Do not fear the inheritance because you think it is too great. I do not entrust without also sustaining. Do not fear the glory because you think it will lead you astray. If you remain in me, glory will not make you proud, but will cause you to worship more deeply. What I have prepared for you does not come to replace me in your heart, but to reveal that I am a faithful Father, the one who knows when to refine, when to preserve, when to open, and when to entrust. Lift your head, my child. Your portion is guarded in my hand. And now you do not enter as one still searching for identity, but as one who knows you are a child, an heir, a soul affirmed by heaven and sent forth in my peace. My beloved child, let your heart settle into this understanding. The authority I give is not a burden that forces you to strain, nor a heavy garment that requires you to prove yourself before others. True authority in me is not loud, not harsh, and does not need to build a stage for itself in order to be seen. It is like the morning light, not arguing with darkness, but simply appearing until the darkness retreats on its own. It is like a river quietly flowing through dry land, not needing to announce its strength, yet still causing life to rise. Do not confuse delegated authority with the pressure to perform. The one who has not settled in me will use a loud voice to hide insecurity, but the one who knows they have been sent by me will carry a deep peace, because they do not act from a need to be recognized, but from an affirmation that has already come from heaven. As it is written, the surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. 2 Corinthians 4:7. You are only the vessel, but within you is something that belongs to me. Therefore, your value does not come from the shape of the vessel, but from the treasure I have placed inside. Remember that authority in my kingdom does not operate like the power of the world. The world often seeks control in order to feel strong, imposes itself in order to be obeyed, and craves recognition in order to believe it has worth. But the authority I give does not need to step on anyone in order to stand firm. It does not take away another person's breath. It opens a way for others to live. It does not make you distant, cold, or higher than your brothers and sisters. It makes you steadier, wiser, and more full of mercy. When Jesus walked among the crowds, he did not need to put on a display for people to know he had authority. With one word, the storm became still. With one touch, the sick were healed. With one look, those pushed to the margins felt called back into life. As it is written, he taught as one who had authority, and not as their scribes, Matthew 7:29. That authority did not come from outward performance, but from perfect union with the will of the Father. In the same way, my child, when you walk in the current I have written for your life, you do not need to force influence through tension. The souls searching for a way will sense something in you, even if they cannot yet name it. They will recognize that the peace within you is not like the temporary peace of someone who has merely avoided trouble, but the peace of one who has met me in the storm and knows that I still reign. They will sense that your words are not merely beautiful language, but carry the weight of a life that has been shaped. They will see that the way you are present makes a space less chaotic, that the way you listen helps the weary feel upheld, that the way you enter a confusing situation does not get swept into that confusion. This is not merely the attraction of your personality, nor is it simply your skill in communication. It is the seal of heaven, the fragrance of Christ. As it is written, for we are the aroma of Christ to God, 2 Corinthians 2:15. When you remain in me, your presence will carry another atmosphere. Therefore, I do not give you authority so that you may lift yourself up, but so that you may restore what has shifted out of holy order. There are territories where I will place your feet not because they are easy, but because they need light. There are conversations I will lead you into, not so you can win an argument, but so you can open a path toward healing. There are environments filled with confusion where I will send you, not so you will be swallowed by chaos, but so you may bring into them another rhythm, another spirit, another order. Just as Joseph entered Egypt not merely to escape the dungeon, but to bring my wisdom into the famine of the nations, just as Daniel stood in a foreign palace not to lose his identity, but to reveal that there is a God in heaven who gives wisdom and unveils hidden mysteries. There is a God in heaven who reveals mysteries, Daniel 2:28. The one who carries true authority does not need to leave every difficult place. They can stand in the midst of it and still not lose their source. Understand that the governance I have appointed for you is not the control of people. I have not called you to rule through fear, manipulation, or pressure. I have called you to govern atmospheres. This means that when you enter, confusion is no longer permitted to define everything as it once did. When you speak, hope has a way to return. When you pray, light touches the place that was once covered by darkness. When you are silent, even that silence is not empty, because it is filled with my presence. You do not need to take possession through your own strength. You only need to stand in the right place, keep the right heart, hear the right voice, and act at the right time. As it is written, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, Zechariah 4:6. What I do through you will not come from force, but from the flow of the Holy Spirit in a surrendered heart. Do not forget the story of Nehemiah, who heard that the wall of Jerusalem had been broken down, and whose heart grieved over the desolation of his people. He did not begin with a display of power. He began with weeping, fasting, prayer, and confession before me. But from that hidden place of prayer, I gave him wisdom to stand before the king, courage to return, and authority to reorganize a ruined city. He did not merely build stone upon stone, he restored the dignity of a people, returned boundaries to what had been broken, and rebuilt gates for the place that had once been exposed. When the opposers mocked him, he did not let them define his mission, but answered, "The God of heaven will make us prosper." Nehemiah 2:20. Do you see, my child? True authority does not need to argue with every mocking voice. It simply continues building what I have spoken must be built. Therefore, stop trying to prove yourself. What I have placed upon you does not need to be protected by insecurity. You do not have to chase every glance, every compliment, every affirmation from others in order to know that you have worth. Before they recognized you, I knew you. Before they called your name, I called you. Before any door on earth opened, I had already written your portion within my eternal purpose. I have called you by your name. You are mine. Isaiah 43:1. When you truly believe this, you will no longer be drawn into the race of proving yourself. You will no longer walk like someone afraid of being left behind, nor speak like someone who must impress. You will walk with steadiness, speak from union, act with discernment, and know when to open, when to close, when to advance, and when to wait. There are doors you are not permitted to open merely because they are attractive. There are places you do not need to enter simply because others expect you to appear. There are words you do not need to answer because not every call comes from me. Mature authority knows that obedience is more precious than being present everywhere. Jesus did not heal everyone according to the pressure of the crowd, but he always did what the Father showed him to do. As he said, the Son can do nothing of his own accord, but only what he sees the Father doing. John 5:19. This is the secret of authority that remains undefiled. It does not operate apart from union. When you open what I tell you to open, life will enter. When you close what I tell you to close, your soul will be protected. When you speak what I place in your heart, that word will carry weight. When you remain silent according to my leading, that silence also becomes a holy act. Then you will see the atmosphere around you change, not because you are trying to control it, but because I have placed within you an order that does not come from the world. Those who are confused will find calm when they are near you. Heavy places will begin to have room to breathe. Conversations that once descended into disorder will be led back toward clarity, not because you are the source, but because you know how to abide in the source. Not because you have every answer, but because you carry the presence of the one who knows all things. You will learn to govern through peace, serve with authority, lead with humility, and influence through purity. This is the authority I give, authority to heal, not to wound, authority to uphold, not to oppress, authority to open the way, not to build a throne for the ego. My beloved child, this is your true inheritance, not merely a position, a title, or recognition, but the ability to live under my commission with a peaceful heart. That inheritance cannot be stolen by criticism, cannot be replaced by false brilliance, and cannot be nullified by the delay of circumstances. It is established by me, kept by my hand, and activated by your obedience. Stand in your portion without pride. Step into the place where I send you without fear. Carry light without display. Restore what is distorted without self-exaltation. And remember, the greatest authority is not making others know who you are, but causing the atmosphere around you to recognize that I am present. When you live this way, you do not merely carry authority. You become a holy sign that my kingdom has drawn near, that my order can still return in the midst of chaos, and that a soul who knows it has been commissioned will shake the darkness through my unshakable peace. My beloved child, do not let your heart confuse the growth. I am working within you with the ambition the world often celebrates. The world measures growth by applause, by higher positions, by lights shining upon a name, by how many people see and recognize. But I am not raising you so that you may become imprisoned by the desire to be admired. I am lifting you in depth, where not everyone can see, yet where everything enduring is formed. The maturity I place within you does not begin on a stage. But at the altar, it does not begin with display, but with surrender. It does not begin with hearing many words of praise, but with your soul gaining greater capacity to carry what is weighty without losing purity. As it is written, until we all attain to the unity of the faith, to mature manhood, to the measure of the stature of the fullness of Christ. Ephesians 4:13. I am not calling you to grow into the shape of the ego. I am calling you to grow into the stature of Christ. Therefore, when you sense that something within you is being enlarged, do not immediately ask whether others can see it. Some of the most important expansions take place in the hidden place, the capacity to be blessed without becoming proud, the capacity to be entrusted without abusing what is given, the capacity to be loved without suspicion, the capacity to receive without shrinking back in shame. You have passed through seasons when your heart became small because of wounds, so much so that even good things made you afraid, because you did not know whether you were worthy enough to keep them. But I am healing your capacity. I am not only giving you something new, I am making you wide enough to welcome the new without being thrown into disorder by it. Just as wineskins must be renewed to hold new wine, your soul is also being softened, deepened, and strengthened by me, so that what I pour in will not leak out through the cracks of old fear. Remember the story of Solomon when, as a young man, he was placed upon David's throne. He did not begin his reign by boasting that he was ready, nor did he use the crown as evidence for self-satisfaction. Before me, he confessed that he was like a little child who did not know how to go out or come in, and he asked for a listening heart to judge the people. And I was pleased, because he did not ask for riches, long life, or the lives of his enemies, but for wisdom to carry responsibility rightly. As it is written, give your servant therefore an understanding mind to govern your people. 1 Kings 3:9. Do you see, my child? That is true growth, not desiring to sit high in order to be admired, but being given the capacity to serve what I entrust. The mature person does not ask, who will see me, but asks, Father, how must I carry this in a way that pleases you? In the same way, my beloved child, I do not place you in the realm of decisions so that you may be crushed by the fear of being wrong. I know that fear once followed you like a shadow, causing you to delay, hesitate, doubt yourself, and view every choice as a sentence that could destroy your future. But when I lead you into maturity, I do not make you reckless, I make you guided. The one who is guided does not need to know every detail before daring to step, because that one knows the one who is showing the way. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will make straight your paths. Proverbs 3:5-6. My guidance is not always a long map, but it is always enough light for the next step. When you trust me, your decisions are no longer a stage for fear, but a place where my wisdom is revealed through a heart that knows how to listen. Nor do I place you in the realm of receiving so that you may shrink back in shame. There are people who do not know how to receive because, deep within, they still believe they are only permitted to live at the level of lack. They are used to apologizing for existing, used to minimizing their needs, used to rejecting what is good because they fear they are not worthy. But my child, when I give, you do not defile grace by receiving with gratitude. When I open a door, you do not offend humility by walking through it. When I place a portion in your hands, you do not become proud simply because you no longer deny what I have given. When the father, in the story of the prodigal son, clothed his son with the best robe, put a ring on his hand, and placed shoes on his feet, the son was not called to argue with the father's love. He was called to return to the identity of sonship. In the same way, You do not receive because you have proven yourself worthy. You receive because I am the Father. And what I give is held within the covenant of my love. True maturity will free you from both extremes. On one side, the ambition that wants to seize everything in order to exalt itself. On the other, the shame that causes you to push away everything I desire to place in your hands. I do not want you to become arrogant, but neither do I want you to remain self-diminishing. Humility is not denying the grace I have given. Humility is recognizing that this grace comes from me and using it according to my will. Moses once avoided the call because he felt he was not enough, but I did not allow his insecurity to rewrite my commission. David was once overlooked among his brothers, but I did not allow human judgment to erase the anointing upon his head. Mary, a young woman who seemed ordinary in the eyes of the world, said, "Behold, I am the servant of the Lord. Let it be to me according to your word." Luke 1:38. That is the heart I seek, not self-exalting, not shrinking back, but open so that my word may find room to take form. My beloved child, when I enlarge your capacity, you will begin to see blessing with different eyes. You will no longer fear what is good as though it were a trap. You will no longer see influence as a danger if your heart remains in me. You will no longer think that every elevation is ambition, because there is an elevation that comes from my own hand so that you may serve more, love more deeply, govern more wisely, and testify more clearly of my faithfulness. Just as Joseph was brought out of the dungeon and placed before Pharaoh's throne, his elevation was not for self-exaltation, but to save many peoples from famine. When he was placed in a high position, he still declared that interpretation and wisdom came from God. That is the mark of one who has capacity, to be entrusted with authority without forgetting the source, to be given influence without losing tenderness, to step into spaciousness while still remembering the days when I kept them in a narrow place. Therefore, do not fear the realm of decision, because I do not leave you alone there. Do not fear the realm of receiving, because I do not give in order to lead you away from me. When you must choose, bring your heart back to my peace, not to the noise of pressure. When you must receive, open your hands with gratitude, not with self-doubt. When you must step into greater responsibility, remember that I do not require you to carry it by your own strength, for it is God who works in you, both to will and to work for his good pleasure. Philippians 2:13. I am working within your desires, within your discernment, within your steps, within your ability to keep your heart from both pride and fear. You do not grow in order to move farther from me. You grow in order to cooperate with me more deeply. Then you will recognize that what I call enlargement does not always make your life louder, but it does make your soul steadier. Others may only see the outward results, but I see what is more precious. You know how to wait instead of rushing, how to receive instead of disqualifying yourself, how to say no to what does not belong to me, how to say yes to what I place before you, how to stand in influence while still preserving worship. This is the stature I am forming within you. This is the capacity of one who is not made intoxicated with self by blessing, nor paralyzed by responsibility. This is holy growth. The more you receive, the more deeply grateful you become, the higher you are placed. The lower your heart bows, the greater your influence becomes, the more you need my presence. Therefore, walk in this season with mature peace. Do not call what I am doing ambition simply because it brings you into a wider space. And do not reject the portion I entrust to you by thinking that false smallness is humility. Let me teach you how to receive without becoming proud, how to decide without trembling, how to influence without manipulating, how to grow without losing simplicity before me. You have been shaped through many seasons, and now I am enlarging your capacity so that blessing will not break you. Responsibility will not frighten you, and glory will not cause you to forget the way back to the altar. Trust me with all your heart. Acknowledge me in every path. I will guide you, keep you, correct you when needed, lift you at the right time, and teach you to carry what I entrust with a heart that belongs wholly to me.